Welcome to Lotus Center, and thank you for joining me. I miss you, and my heart is with you. May this practice reconnect us to ease and strength within. Specifically, we'll be focused on hip flexors. During periods of long sitting, which we may be experiencing, the hip flexors can get tight and weak. And so this practice will emphasize the ease in terms of lengthening and the strength of that area of our bodies. Take care to listen to your own body. I want this practice to serve you, and listening to your body will support that intention. Let's start on our backs. Come onto the back and allow any adjustments so that you get comfortable here. Adding any pillows or blankets that might have the head or the back feel comfortable. Begin breathing in a way that connects you to this inner space of ease and strength, inviting these qualities forth, these qualities that are already in you. Bring your right knee in towards the chest and see if it's comfortable to slide the left heel forward or bring the left leg all the way down to the mat, straightening the knee. Come back to the breath and see if throughout the practice you can keep an easy breath. And we'll add a movement. Your hands can come anywhere on this right knee or thigh, and breathe in and press the knee away from the abdomen, and then as you exhale, draw down into the navel and draw the knee closer. Continue for a couple more breath cycles. Then we'll position the knee over the hip, and you can use your right hand on the right knee to guide the knee a little wider out to the right side. We're using our core muscles to keep the left hip down. Take one more breath in and out. Now bring the right knee back over the hip and relax both hands down by your sides. Relax the shoulders and neck. Breathe in and stretch the right heel up towards the ceiling, and exhale, bend the knee. Let's take 2 more breath cycles doing that. When the knee is bent again, place left hand on the right knee. Draw the knee over towards the left side, dropping the right shoulder, relaxing the right arm in whatever way supports this grounding of the right shoulder and arm. If you're experiencing something less than ease in the spine or in the right hip, do less of a range of motion in your twist. Take 2 more breath cycles. Breathe in and bring the knee back over the right hip. And exhale, let's bring the right foot down and draw left knee in towards your chest. Take a moment to relax the neck and shoulders. Relax the muscles in your face. And experiment with sliding the right heel forward towards the short end of the mat. Seeing if we can get a stretch here that begins to lengthen the right hip flexors. Now place the hands anywhere on your left leg or knee, and as you breathe in, we'll press the knee away, more over the hip, and as you exhale, bring the left knee in. Continue breathing through 2 more breath cycles. Bring the left knee more over the hip and draw the left knee out to the left side. Use your core muscles to encourage this right hip to stay planted. As you breathe in, bring the left knee back up and relax the hands down by your sides. Relax the shoulders once more. As you breathe in, we'll stretch the left leg up, straightening the knee, and exhale, bend. Continue doing this as you breathe. Don't force the leg to straighten beyond what feels easy. When your left knee is bent, place right hand on the left knee, cross the knee over towards the right side, ground through your left shoulder, relax the left arm. Notice what area you want to stop in so that you can experience a stretch but with ease. When you breathe in again, bring the left knee back over the left hip and draw both knees in towards your chest. Add any movement here. You can rock from side to side or rock the head or stretch the legs and arms in any way that feels good. Warming up. Stay tuned in to how the body is responding to your movement so you can keep the movement within the range of ease. Give yourself another breath cycle. side. We'll come onto your hands and knees. If you'd like to place a blanket under the knees for support, for cushioning, please do that. If you find that the knees do not appreciate being in this position today, on the knees, you may come into a seated position to do this spinal warm-up of cat-cow from there. So as we breathe in, let's tip the tailbone up and lift the chest. Let the neck be comfortable. And as you exhale, draw the navel up, lift the back towards the ceiling, and relax the neck. Continue moving with your breath. Inhale into this extension and exhale into the flexion. Come to a neutral spine. We'll add a twist here. If you're in a seated position, you can add a seated twist. Draw the right foot to the back of the mat. Rearrange. We'll have the right toes on the mat and the right heel is actively pressing back to lengthen the right hip flexors. Leave your right hand on the mat. And as you breathe in, find length from the crown of your head to the right heel. And exhale, turn the chest towards the left. You can place right hand or left hand at your hip, or behind the waist, or over the shoulder, lifting the arm. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, lower the left hand. Bring the right knee back under the hip. And let's stretch the left leg straight. Toes are tucked. Left heel is pressing towards the short end of your mat. This time we'll leave the left hand down. And take an inhale to find more length along the spine, down through the left leg. And as you exhale, turn the chest towards the right. Right hand can be at the hip, behind the waist, or lifted. Continue to breathe. Take one more breath in. Exhale, bring the right hand down. Bring the left knee under the hip, tuck the toes under, and either lift into downward facing dog, or if that does not feel like a good fit for your practice today, place the palms forward and stretch the hips back to come into puppy. If you're choosing puppy, you could also add a little movement of bringing hips forward. You may feel a little stretch in the hip flexors here, and then exhale the hips back, lengthening the spine and neck. So, staying with that movement of puppy or in downward facing dog, add any movement here that connects you to the sensation in the body. And just notice how the body is presenting itself to you now. Take one more breath in and out. And then let's transition to come to a standing forward bend. So we'll have the feet planted under the hips. Either the torso at a right angle to the legs, or you could lower the chest closer to the legs if that does not present any strain in the hamstrings or your low back. Maybe bending the knees will help add ease here for your body. Let yourself experiment what feels best to you today. With your next breath in, lift the chest and lift the arms up over the head, and exhale, bring palms to heart center. We'll add a flow here. As you breathe in, stretch the arms up over the head, and exhale. Let's stretch over towards the right side. Breathe in and reach up, and exhale, stretch left. Breathe in and lift up. As you exhale, hinge forward, lengthening the spine, drawing into navel. Breathe in and come back to a half fold, lengthening here. Exhale, either stay there or fold more deeply. Breathe in, stretch up, and exhale, let's stretch to the left side. Breathe in as you lengthen up, feel your grounding. Exhale to the right. Breathe in and stretch up. Exhale, hinge forward. Breathe in, lengthen into a half fold. Exhale, fold. Breathe in and stretch up. And exhale, palms together at heart center. We'll turn towards the front of your mat and pick up your right heel. You can stretch your arms forward. As you breathe in, let's step the right foot back and lift the arms in Warrior One. Take your time to adjust so that this feels like a stretch, especially today for the hip flexors, the right hip flexors. So you may want to bring the right foot up and turn the hips towards the front of the mat. Feel this stretch in front of the right side of the pelvis. You may want to leave the heel down, or experiment here with some alternatives. So another idea would be to pick up the right heel and press it back. So again, see what feels good for your hip flexors. A nice stretch, but your body will tell you if you feel like it's getting too deep, or if you are starting to feel less steady. That's another sign to do something else, do something a little less extended. So, another idea perhaps, if you're still not getting a sufficient stretch, you could bend the right knee, still keeping the pelvis more or less steady and straight, so one hip is not lifted. And press the right hip forward. You could have that action regardless of the alternatives that you're doing, whether the heel is pressed back or the heel is down. Pressing the right hip forward, maybe even engaging the right glutes will give you a sense of a deeper stretch through the hip flexors. So, as we stay here, arms can be in whatever position feels the most stable for you. We'll breathe in, and let's see how it feels to straighten the left knee a bit, and exhale, bend. Couple more breath cycles. Now release the hands down by your sides. With your next inhale, step the feet together and feel your grounding. Take a moment here. We'll add the half sun salutation again. Breathe in, reach up, exhale, stretch over to the right side. Breathe in and stretch up, and exhale, left. Breathe in, lengthen up, exhale, fold forward. Breathe in, fold. Exhale, fold deeper if that's available. Breathe in and stretch up. And exhale, bring palms to heart center. Face the front of your mat if you're not already. And pick up your left heel. Let's have arms forward. Breathe in and step the left foot back. Find the stance for warrior one. Again, we'll play around with a stance that seems to awaken the left hip flexors. You can have hands at the hips if you wish as you begin to experiment, maybe shortening the stance and drawing the left hip forward, or perhaps lengthening the stance or picking up the left heel and pressing it back, or bending the left knee and drawing the left hip forward, maybe engaging the glutes, the left side of your glutes. So, breathing, let's inhale and straighten the right knee and exhale, bend. We'll do a couple more. Relax your hands down by your sides. Breathe in, step the feet together, and drop the hips, bending, hinging at the hips, coming into chair pose. Imagine that you have a block or a pillow in between the knees and engage the inner thighs as if they're going to touch, but they don't. So we can still keep feet about hip distance apart and hug the legs towards one another without touching. As you breathe in, straighten the legs, lift the arms up over the head, and exhale, fold forward. Breathe in as you look forward. Exhale, let's fold again, bend the knees and place the hands down on the mat and step the knees back until you're in this tabletop position. From here, we'll add some deeper stretches for the hip flexors and the muscles around the hips. And one possibility strongly suggests, so that your knees feel ease, is to have a blanket under your knees or a pillow. And also you can have a couple of blocks. This is all optional. And as you set this up for yourself, if you already are experiencing some dis-ease, some less than pleasurable sensation in your knees, you can come back to be on your back, and we're going to go through the same series of stretches as we did at the beginning of the practice on your back, except we'll be doing it from this low lunge position. So feel free to do the option on your back again. So if knees are comfortable being in this position in tabletop, stay here. And slide the right foot forward until you're in this low lunge position. Left knee is down on your support blanket or pillow. So, if you're on your back, you'll be drawing the right knee towards you and maybe lengthening the left leg. Place the hands on top of your right knee, or you could keep them on your blocks. Either way, see if you could lift your chest and imagine lengthening so that you feel the stretch more deeply in the left hip flexors. So you can press down on the top of the thigh or right knee and lengthen. And exhale, let's lean the chest forward. If you're on your back, we'll inhale and push the knee away. And exhale, draw the knee towards you. Let's do a couple more breath cycles. Pause after your exhale, place your hands on the mat or your blocks, and let's walk the right foot towards the right side of your mat. You could have the toes pointing either towards the short end of the mat or towards the corner, the right corner. If you're on your back, you're just drawing the knee wider. You can keep your hands on your blocks, or if it feels good to your hips, to go lower, feel free to come down onto a lower side of the block or onto your forearms. But again, see what feels good to the body here and adjust. Let's just take one more breath in and out. Come now to the hands or your blocks under your hands and walk the right foot back in line with your right hip and begin to straighten the right leg and draw the hips back. You can walk the blocks towards you or your hands towards you so they are more under the shoulders than forward if that feels more steady. If you're on your back, you're going to reach the right heel up towards the ceiling. From this position, you can pause here and experiment with straightening the right knee or bending it slightly. See what stretch feels the best here. If you wish, you can play around with the right ankle, maybe dropping the ball of the foot down and lifting it. If you're on your back, perhaps rotate the right ankle. We'll take a couple more breath cycles as you explore this stretch. Leave the right foot down, bend the right knee, walk your hands back under your shoulders as your chest comes forward. And we'll come into a twist here. If you're on your back, you're going to draw the right knee over towards the left side. If in this low lunge position, any version of a twist that feels good, perhaps just looking to the right side, drawing the chest to point more right. You could have both hands on a block, or you could have your left hand down under the shoulder and your right hand at the hip. If you want more stretch through the left hip flexors, you could tuck your left toes under and press the left heel back, lifting the knee. Take one more breath in and out. Drop the left knee if it's lifted. Bring hands down under the shoulders and slip the right knee back under the hip. If you're on your back, hug your knees in towards your chest. Let's try the other side. So this time we'll bring left foot forward. On your back, you'll bring left knee towards your chest and stretch right leg flat or somewhat bent. You can either leave your hands on the mat or blocks or place them on the top of your left thigh. As you breathe in, lift the chest and see if you can find more length from the right hip flexors up to the chest. Exhale, draw into your navel as you lengthen the spine towards the knee. Breathe in and lift the chest. And exhale, the knee closer. On your back, you're inhaling and pushing the knee away. Now let's place hands down and walk the left foot over towards the left side of the mat, either toes pointing to the short edge of the mat or out to the corners. Hands can stay where they are, or you may want to drop lower. So see what feels good on this side for this hip. If you want to drop lower, you could use blocks under your forearms or come down to one or both elbows. If you're on your back, you're just drawing the left knee out to the side for a moment. Come to the breath. Take one more breath cycle here. Begin coming back, hands down on the mat, or maybe blocks under your hand will walk the left foot back in line with your left hip. And then straighten the left leg, draw the hips back. You can walk hands until they feel the most supportive for the shoulders, the most comfortable. If you're on your back, stretch the left leg up towards the ceiling. Notice how it feels best for your left leg, maybe the knee a little bent or more straight. If you wish, play with the ankle joint. If you're on your back, you can rotate the ankle. If you're in this low lunge, press the ball of the foot down and lift. Keep the breath easy. Bend your left knee, and we'll add a twist. Any variation that you wish will be turning the chest towards the left side. So you could place your right hand down on the mat or forearm, maybe left hand at your left thigh and turn that way, or hand could be on the mat, right hand on the mat, left arm could be lifted. If you wish, you could tuck the right toes under and lift the right knee if that feels good to your right hip flexors. One more breath in and out. Lower the right knee if it's lifted. Unwind from your twist. Hands can come back to your blocks if you wish. And we'll slide the left knee under the hip. Set your blocks aside for a moment. Set your blanket aside for the moment, and we'll come on to your belly. Perhaps down to forearms and sliding your knees back, or any way that has you be on your belly in an easy way. We'll pause here. Lengthening the hip flexors as we've been doing can promote ease in the low back. So you may feel a little more flexibility there after doing the stretches we've done. Make sure that the low back stays comfortable here. If this Sphinx variation of Cobra does not feel good, feel free to lower the chest or bring the elbows further forward, or you can come into any version of Cobra. Let's take 3 more breath cycles. Lower down to the belly, and then roll onto So you can reach for a block. It's optional. Or if you have another prop at home, such as a pillow, that would work as well. So we'll bend the knees with the feet planted firmly, heels close towards your hips, feet about hip distance apart. Press down through the feet and lift the hips to slide the block under the hips. And relax the shoulders so that the shoulders are drawing down away from your ears and maybe tucking under so you get a broad space across the chest. One variation, since we've been focusing on hip flexors, would be to lift the hips until you do feel a sufficient stretch. If the way you've been positioning the block does not provide that, you may add more cushioning under the hips or change the side of the block that you're on until you feel an adequate stretch in the hip flexors. If you still don't feel sufficient stretch, another idea would be to take the right foot and stretch it forward. Still press down through the left foot so you feel equal grounding through the hips. If you're doing that stretch for the right leg, you may want to change sides whenever that side feels done, feels complete. Let's take a couple more breath cycles. Now, lift the hips so that you can release the block and lower the hips gently down. And let's bring both hands down by your sides. Take a moment to relax through the low back. Bending the knees and having the feet on the mat will allow the hip flexors to relax. Adding a twist here, slide the hips over towards the right side and bring the knees to the left side. Relax the arms in any way that feels good to you so that the shoulders can remain comfortably grounded. Props in between the knees or under the left thigh would be fine. Breathe in, bring the knees up. We'll slide the hips towards the left side of your mat. Draw the knees to the right side. Adjust so that you feel comfortable in this twist with any propping between or under the leg. And relax the shoulders and the neck. Gently guide your knees up. Realign the hips with the shoulders, and let's draw both knees in towards your chest. And take a moment to move the legs, the hips, the neck, the arms, whatever movement or stretch feels good to you to relax the body completely. And we'll move into our last pose of corpse pose, Shavasana. And so take a moment to bring the body into a state of ease, if there's any additional stretch that's needed, or if there's some additional propping that you'd like to gather, do that now. Since we've been working with hip flexors, there's one additional way that you could relax this area. You could bring pillows under the knees so you have some ease in this area, or you may want to bring the legs onto the top of a chair, the seat of a chair. Or you could slide your hips over towards a wall and bring the legs up the wall in this reclining, restorative inversion. Whatever you're choosing, if you find that it does not support your practice for ease, then you have full permission to change your mind until you find a position that relaxes you completely. Begin noticing what's happening inside, dropping into the space of ease and peace. Allowing whatever is happening to be as it is. Stay here for as long as you like.